Hey guys, welcome back to more Entitled People stories. In this video, my insanely entitled brother demanded I share half of my money from the inheritance and demanded that I give my ranch to him. Here is what happened. Let's dive right into the video. When I was about 12 years old and my brother was 14, our parents got a divorce and mom got, I guess, primary custody is what they called it. We saw our dad mainly on weekends and holidays and things like that. That lasted only a year or so before my brother started acting up really badly in school and at home starting fights with my mom and me. Eventually, it was decided that we would go and live with my dad, which is what he wanted anyway. I stayed with my mom because I didn't want to change schools and was kind of wanting some time not living with my brother. I saw him a lot still growing up, but our personalities and interests just never meshed. Things went pretty normally in my life until I was 27 and my mom got sick. I was a mess from it all, and after 8 months she passed away, leaving me totally heartbroken. She was always a prepared woman though and had a will that split her assets right down the middle between my brother and I. Between cash and money from selling her house and paying back the remaining mortgage, we both got a decent chunk of money. I also had been saving up from work, so I really had a solid amount of seed money in order to start over somewhere. I did not have a house because I lived with her until she died, which is another reason I had so much in my savings account. I was also dating this girl who is actually my wife now for about 3 years. We decided to put some of her money into things too and get a place together. We got a ranch and put down a huge down payment in order to avoid a mortgage headache. I was not exactly happy due to me still grieving, but I was as happy as I could possibly be. I did not know what my brother was doing with his half of the money, but I knew that he needed it. He never had a stable job and I'd been hit up by him at least 3 times for different pyramid types or get-rich-quick schemes. Somehow he was not still living with dad but in a cruddy apartment, and that is not me trying to be like pretentious or anything. I've been there twice and it was just disgusting between the look and the smell both times. Things came to a boil when he saw that I had bought a house and called my dad to complain about it. Now my relationship with my dad was not as good since I was always closer to mom. My dad defended my brother's behaviors, which probably made them worse as he got older. I got a call from my dad thinking that it might be something about my mom's 1-year death anniversary coming up the next month. Also, I don't want to use his real name, so I will just call my brother Patrick for this. Dad, Patrick told me that you got yourself a ranch. Me, oh yeah, we are still moving things in though. But once it's settled, I would love to have you over for dinner sometime. My dad, he showed me a picture. It didn't look cheap. Did you use all the money your mother left you? Me, most of it, so we could put down a nice down payment. What is this about exactly? Dad, Patrick is very upset that you didn't think of him. Getting a nice home when he's still living in an apartment. Me, mom left him the same amount of money. Dad, look, I'm just saying he's very upset and you could have thought about him before spending it all on yourself. My dad had a way of dancing around subject, so I will recap the rest of the conversation after this. I just wanted to give you a taste of how cold our conversations could get. It turns out that Patrick was throwing a fit that I got a house and he did not have one. He wanted my dad to basically tell me that I had to give him enough money to get one too, or better yet, just let him have the one I bought, while being told that I was blessed with a good job and had options when Patrick didn't, so it was wrong to also not share the money with him. I was not blessed with a job either. I worked my ass off to work my way up to a good position. It was not my fault that Patrick didn't care about his education or wanting to work hard on anything. I started questioning what happened to the money he got, while my dad dodged the questions totally and just tried to gaslight me into feeling bad for my brother. I told my dad that I was not gonna give away my brand new house no matter how badly Patrick wanted one of his own. He really felt that he had the right to have it because we were brothers, and that really took me back to childhood. My brother had always been entitled and had the mentality of anything that was his, but anything that was mine was also his. My mom was the only one that tried to stop that kind of behavior, but once he moved in with dad, it got even worse. Patrick also called me quite a few times explaining that he should get the house because he was older. Like that was the best excuse he could come up with, that he needed to get a house before me and I couldn't have one until he did. Again, telling, not asking me to give him my house, aka ranch. He really felt like he deserved it more than me, but none of his reasons came close to even making sense. Aside from being older, he tried to claim that the fact that he was grieving our mother and I was being mean to him during this time made me horrible. At that point I lost my cool and totally blew up in his face. Not once when she was sick did he come and visit her, not at the hospital and not at the house. And he was late to her funeral, only showing up for the end of it. I refused to play nicely at that point and told him exactly what I thought about him, that he was an entitled brat that never grew up or learned how to be an adult. Of course, this resulted in him going back to my dad and crying about me being mean. Dad tried to tell me off, but I shut that down as well, telling him to stop defending and enabling Patrick. He never tried to do anything crazy like break into my house, and after that we talked even less than before my mom died. Same with my dad, who just wanted to defend him and probably was the one giving him money in order to survive in the apartment. Neither one came to my wedding, even though I was the bigger person and actually invited them. Telling him off felt good for me, though, since I had been holding on to those feelings since I was probably 12 or 13 years old. Edit. A lot of you wanted to know what happened to his half of the money, and I did eventually learn what he did with all of it. The entire amount got blown between alcohol and drugs. I didn't know at the time, but he was apparently always drunk and high on something or another, and he saw the money and couldn't spend it fast enough to get himself messed up. For all I know, the apartment he lives in is some kind of drug den, or he was selling and able to live there. I don't know now if he is still that way, because honestly the only thing I do know is that he is still alive. So he basically spent the money on that instead of trying to get a house that he apparently desperately wanted. And the next one is titled, My Little Brother 3 Male is actually my fiance's 25 male kid. And by the way, if you still enjoy the relationship stories, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. My fiance, 25 male, and myself, 24 female, have been together since we were 17/18 years old. Honestly, he was always kind, handsome, funny, and everyone used to say that I was so lucky to have the whole package. I felt so lucky too. He always treated me with love and respect, so this makes everything just so shocking for me. I've always had a good relationship with my mom. It has always been her and I against the world. My dad died in an accident when I was little. We always joke that we are the real-life Lori and Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. My mom dated guys on and off and they were usually cool, but nothing really past the early stages. Around 4 years ago, my mom told me that she was pregnant, which was a huge surprise. My mom was around 42 years old, and although she was sort of dating someone recently, did not meet the guy but knew that she went on dates, it was still a big shock. She never thought that she could be pregnant at her age. She had me when she was super young, an oopsie, and I can tell that she was stressed and worried. I decided to support her, since she has always supported me, and tried to reassure her. She then had my brother, who is now 3 years old. I have a close relationship with my brother, and I've always helped taken care of him since he was born, and I just love the little guy. My fiance was also always helpful with my brother, and we would take him out for ice cream, playground, pool time during summer, etc., but nothing was weird. He was just my then boyfriend, spending time with my brother and I. Now to the how I found out. So my fiance and I lived together since we finished college. My fiance was not at home since he was hanging out with friends, but I was home because I didn't feel like going out and I just wanted to chill on my sofa. At some point during binge watching a series on Netflix, my laptop died and I was too lazy to go get my charger, so I just took my fiance's iPad. I know the password, but honestly never used it before. The iPad logged in and I got a bunch of messages pinging. I guess he hasn't used it in a while too. Anyways, this got my attention and I went to check it out, and of course I found everything. My mom's number was not under her name, but I recognized the number and verified it with my phone. She was telling him that she felt guilty and that I should know. He said he also felt guilty but could not lose me, and they effed it up. She said that it was unfair for my brother to never not know his dad, and that if he could live having his son around not behaving like a dad but a brother-in-law. I broke down. What the actual F? There were not a lot of older messages, just some photos stored of my brother as a newborn, my mom pregnant, and more photos of my brother growing up in an album. I couldn't anymore. I cried for what it seems ages, and I waited for my boyfriend to come back home. I wish I was one of those women that can just pretend and get things together before confronting the cheater, but I can't. He came back later that night, around 23:30, and I just gave him the iPad with the conversation opened and saw his face completely go pale. I asked for an explanation, when, how, why, and he didn't want to at first, but knew he had to. Apparently, a few years back while I was traveling with some friends, a girls' trip, my fiance and mom had dinner together. This is not strange, since he has been a part of the family for so long. Sometimes mom and fiance would eat together at our place, even if I was busy with sports or out, and I did the same with his parents. Somehow, unclear how since he couldn't explain it well, one thing led to another and they ended up sleeping together. They felt guilty, but apparently not guilty enough because they slept together 2 or 3 more times using the excuse of meeting up to discuss how to tell me. Apparently when my mom got pregnant, they stopped sleeping together and decided to not tell me since my fiancé supposedly loved me and could not lose me, and my mom did not want to lose her daughter. So here we are now with 2 of the most disgusting humans. I obviously broke the engagement, told my mom to never talk to me again and move in with a friend. I feel bad for my brother since I really love him, but I cannot be around him now, I just can't. I feel like it would remind me of all those times we talked about having kids and I would be his baby mama, the only baby mama, and we talked about this future since we were 17 years old. So I want to puke every time I think of how I was actually taking care of his child with someone else while still having those dreams. Honestly, I want to puke. And yeah, ripe stars, I gotta say, this is probably one of the most awful stories I've ever read on Reddit. I feel so bad for OP, it's honestly hard to put in words. If you would be in this situation, what would you have done? Let me know in the comments, and now let's read the update. As I was afraid, I was indeed confronted near my office this week. I knew this was coming but thought maybe I had more time. My ex was the person to come find me. Yesterday, Wednesday, after finishing work and walking to where my car was parked, my ex was sort of lingering, waiting around. I thought about running, not gonna lie, but I guess in the moment I felt strong enough to get over with it, instead of having that hanging above my head waiting to be approached again. He asked if we could talk and I said yes, but I didn't feel like having that conversation over coffee like we were old friends. It felt ridiculous, so I told him to just talk right there. We were in the streets, but somehow it wasn't crowded, but also not completely lonely, so it felt right. He basically said sorry 100 times and that I deserved better. I agreed, and he said he did love me and that he still does, but he would understand why I would not want anything to do with him. He said that if I did in fact consider giving him a chance, that he would go to therapy alone or together or both, and that he would work hard to win my trust back. I told him it wasn't possible, there was too much damage. This sounds calm when I type it, but in the moment things came out more with a louder tone and harsher words. Anyways, he did say that he's in the, or will be, it was a bit of a blur, process of getting custody, partly from my brother, and that he in fact does want to be a dad to him. He said he doesn't want to be together with my mom, that it was just a stupid mistake. Sure, because 4 to 5 times mistake is just a random thing, he couldn't explain why he did it in the first place, and I think he doesn't even know himself. I asked if he cheated with someone else before, and he said no. Not sure if to believe it, but he sounded honest. I asked why he didn't come clean, and he said that after he did the deed, he always felt panicked and it hit him that he could lose me and he just didn't want to. I told him if it was meant to be found out, then what was his plan? To have my brother around and ignore their relationship forever? He said he did not think far enough and that he was basically going with the idea one day at the time type of survival. I asked him if he felt that my mom seduced him, and he said it was mutual, which made me want to puke again. I asked if he has any contact with my mom since I found out, and he said yes, but mostly about my brother. Didn't elaborate more, and I didn't press for more info on that. He said he told his parents the day before, or the day before that, not sure, Monday to Tuesday, about everything. The parents were not happy, but they are glad to start building now a relationship with my brother, aka their grandkid. Honestly, all of this felt like a punch in my stomach. I don't know why. The parents wanted to contact me, but he told them to wait till he approached me first, hence why he was here. I said if he started or thought about the custody before I found out, and he said no, but when I found out it was like the push he needed. Great, seems like I helped him get his crap together, and this past week he was arranging all of that mess, that's why he hasn't tried to see me before. He sounded and looked defeated, but the whole thing made me besides sad, angry. I was mainly depressed before, but now I'm furious. I feel like he's still in an okay place and he's not paying for his actions beyond me leaving him. He will have my brother, his parents and others and move on with his life while I lost everything. I hate him, we parted ways not on a happy note, and I told him to never get near me again. I was just done with all of this. He asked me to see my brother still, that I was important to him, and tried to guilt trip me, and it worked, but I still think I can't. I don't know much about my mom and really hope she doesn't come and find me anytime soon because I'm fuming right now and won't be able to handle it. I'll be contacting my family and friends and finally doing the blasting today. I think it's about time, and after my talk with him, I got the extra push I needed. Editor's note, top comment suggested moving to Australia, and I cannot fault that line of thinking. Another update, a lot has happened, I did the blasting and this is how it went down. I first posted on my family's FB group we share, this is from my mom's family site. I used inspiration of what you all suggested in my last post and said something around the lines of, I want to communicate to you all that my wedding with X has been permanently cancelled since I found out that my mom name and my ex name had in the last few years a sexual relationship which resulted in the birth of my little brother name. I had no clue of any of this and I found out about it last week. I won't have moving forward a relationship with name of my mom and ex for obvious reasons. I would appreciate your understanding and I felt it was only fair to let you know of the situation. Since I value transparency and honesty above all, I also included a screenshot of my mother's message, what I said to her once I found out, and a message that she managed to write back before I blocked her. Didn't open the message till before the blasting. I didn't want to hear/read her and be persuaded. It exploded. I had family reaching out via text and calling the whole day after the blasting. I would say most were very supportive and I could tell they were just shocked. There were a few neutral and some suspicious that it wasn't the whole story and maybe I misunderstood. My grandparents were in the maybe you misunderstood category, which wasn't surprising since my mom is super close to my grandparents and like I said before, my mom was always a good mom, so there were no red flags. I will be moving with a cousin that is more like a sister to me. I have not reached out to her previously because I knew once she knows everyone would, that's why I went to my friend's place. My cousin is devastated on my behalf and offered that I live with her and her 2 kids until I can get my feet on the ground. I accepted and will be moving next week. I'm a bit afraid this will give my mom an easier access to me, but I cannot stay at my friend's place forever. I then proceeded quickly to post a similar message for we share most of our friends since high school and local university, friends on Instagram. I created a close friends story and tagged most of them too. This went sort of viral in our friend group. Actually, one of my friends sent me my Reddit post and asked if this was me. I confirmed. They were also shocked and speechless and they never thought my ex would even remotely do anything like this. They said that he was crazy about me. Oh well, apparently he went overboard on the crazy part. The group of friends is divided at the moment. Some are completely on my side and some are thinking it's not the whole truth. I told everyone that reached out that if they don't believe me, to ask their friend if he's asking for custody of my little brother. That kind of shut them up for now. My ex deleted his social media apparently, and also my ex-parents called me like I guessed they would. They were kind to me and were very sorry about everything. I got the feeling that they are also overwhelmed and very disappointed. However, it was clear that they'll be supporting their son. They are very upset at my mother and don't want anything to do with her, but not sure how that will work with my little brother and everything else. They tried to give me info about the custody and what is my ex up to now, but I shut that down quickly and told them that I don't want any info and I want to move on. I also asked them to not reach out in the near future, that I needed distance, especially if they'll be supporting my ex. He is living with his parents ATM. Also my ex and my mom, after the blasting, were going nuts trying to reach out to me. They tried calling my friend who she blocked them and reaching out from different numbers. I had to put my phone on silence and ignore everyone. However, my mom sent me a long text from another number and that was a weird text. She said that I was being cruel and that she didn't think she raised me that way. She said she thought we had a better relationship than me blasting out laundry like that without talking to her first. That I didn't have the whole picture. She did mention something that confused me though. She said in her long ass text that the reason she slept with my ex is because he reminded him of my dad. That was supposed to mean reminded her probably. But anyway, that it was grief, that she didn't mean to use him to heal her pain, but that she wasn't strong enough. I don't even know what that means. Like, did she think that my ex looks physically like my dad, or the personality or what? I've seen photos of my dad and well, yeah, my ex is not super different, but also not super alike. I mean, they share brown/dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, but that's not so uncommon. I don't see what else. I don't know. That threw me for a loop and honestly makes me want to confront my mom just to know what the hell. From all the things she could say, I was not expecting that. I'm holding on better, I don't cry every hour or want to murder them, but I'm still sad and upset and it just feels like it's not my life that is a big joke or a bad dream and I will wake up to my normal life. I also need to really start planning my future and start applying for jobs in other cities or maybe check the possibilities abroad more seriously. I might as well for 2 to 3 days off work to get really my thoughts together and do some research. I'm terrified to be honest. I feel frozen, but I know that I need to start moving. Update number 3, I'm moving to Spain. I got the job as an au pair near one of the biggest cities in Spain and I'm so excited. I'm flying in a few days and starting on 1st September. Editor's note, took me way too long to realize that the day is 1st, not the month, so this is September 1st, cause my American Standard Date standards and my dyslexia, with the family. The kids are adorable too. I'll be learning Spanish as well, which I always wanted to do anyway, so it all feels like heaven sent. I have not told almost anyone about it, just a few friends I trust and of course my cousin who I live with, also my boss. My mom has been telling people that I'm being mean to her when she wants to fix everything. She made a mistake and is trying to fix it, but I'm being difficult. She is apparently just human, not surprising. I'm now really coming to terms on how self-centered she is and has always been. I'm sad that I lost the mom I thought I had. It feels like if she died. My new therapist, yes I got one the last week, yay, said that I am grieving. Max has left me a bit alone since the last call we had. I heard he is focusing on my little brother and just staying under the radar. I've had some short phone calls with my little brother, which has been bittersweet, but he is doing okay. He of course doesn't know what's really happening, but he is happy with having a new dad. It does not hurt as much as it did before, but it still hurts. Thank you all for the support. And yeah guys, with this we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss any of my daily uploads. And also check out my podcast by searching for Ripe Stories on Spotify, Amazon, Audible and other podcast platforms. You will often find exclusive episodes and early access to new content. Furthermore, please check out my Patreon by going to patreon.com/ripeyoutube or my YouTube membership program for even more exclusive stories. Thank you so much and I will see you again tomorrow.